The scripture that says it is in giving that we receive is essential for all of our growth in terms of humanity. You know, we're all here tied together in a single garment of destiny, and what affects one directly affects all indirectly. What's important is, what is it that I'm imparting? What is it that I'm giving away? What is it that I'm sharing? And what is the quality of that, of those things that I'm trying to impart or pass on?
Gentlemen, I'm pleased to present to you the winner of the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana's First Angel Award, Mr. Richard Thomas.
When I actually heard my name, I couldn't believe it. I think I sat there for like 6 minutes, and all I could do was shake my head in disbelief. You know, I couldn't believe it. I actually thought it was a dream, and it truly was awesome. We were able to take the $5,000 and invest in upgrading our computer systems that we've already had, and we were able to purchase a third computer. We were able to hire 3 young people to teach in our summer art program. We were able to create a newsletter and develop a brochure, as well as develop a site on the internet. And so we're also offered scholarships for the first time this year. I've never received any funding from any sources, you know, and the only time we've gotten money is when we've attracted jobs to ourselves. And we've never had ready cash to use for our wish list. And the whole idea of passing it on that I spoke about that night, you know, has to do with being able to share everything that I am and everything that I have. And certainly, you know, having that $5,000 gave me an opportunity to share it with these young people. Our hope, the hope of humanity, lies in our youth growing up to be adults and understanding that those are things that they have to understand, that they have to contribute to, that they have a contribution to make to society, to the world at large.
And when we talk about people being homeless, we're talking about them having nothing left, no hope, nowhere to go, nowhere to turn. And the complexities of what that does to children is both profound and it is pervasive. And what we have to do is hold up a new vision, give them a new start, a new way of looking and living, not only for the child, but for the parent as well, so they can make the changes necessary so when they leave Providence House, they not only have a job and have a house and a place to go, but their children, because of their parenting skills that they learn, are stable and in really good, healthy, productive mental states.
I didn't even have a life before I came here. I just existed. When I got here, I could breathe because I know I was safe. I mean, I really can't tell you what this place means to me, because it means so much. And I mean, to have people that really care about you when you don't even care about yourself, to let you know that you are worth something. I mean, they can see the good in me that I couldn't even see.
For me to say I'm a child abuser, it's a little difficult, but I wasn't beating the children. I really didn't verbally abuse them, but they were being abused because they weren't being shown.
They were neglected.
Through neglect, you know. But here it's so much different. Here we're being taught again. You know, that's the whole program is around the children. We've been dealing with this drug thing for several years, I must tell you, you know. But this time, the beauty of this place is that we're able to learn to live together, and it's the greatest thing I've ever had.
I would say Simone Hennessee is the brains behind the whole program. Her emphasis on children and her emphasis on taking care of the needs of the children has allowed the parents to break out of the cycle of homelessness, get the education, the job training, et cetera, that they needed.
What these children are seeing today is who they're going to be tomorrow. And that is serious business.
My mom, you know, she's a very sweet lady, and if I could choose another one, not that I don't love my mom because I think she's number one, it'll be Miss Hennessee, because I mean, she's very understanding no matter what it is. She's there if you fall. And that's why I love her so much.
Woodward has changed my life and so many others by establishing the positive action
Woodward is
program.
just a really outstanding, dedicated person.
She's just someone you can lean on and you can count on to be there
It's
when
just
you need her.
really made a big influence on my life.
Sometimes the average kid is the one who's overlooked. A lot of times these days we do an awful lot for the students at either end of the spectrum, and we let those students in the middle fall through the cracks.
Positive action is a camp for the high school group and positive attitude for the junior high group. The camp is to teach students to make responsible decisions and to be role models in their schools and peer groups.
Positive action and positive attitude give them a chance to come together and see that it's okay to say no to drugs, that it's okay to say no to sex. It's a wonderful self-esteem builder, and it gives students an awful lot of confidence. Without self-esteem, they end up in an awful lot of very difficult situations where they're not able to say no to all of the different pressures that face them every day.
If they belong to the peer group or if they attend the summer camp, they sign a pledge that they will be drug-free.
I think of it as it's a promise to myself that I'm gonna treat my body with respect and I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna hurt me or get me in trouble.
The best times is when they come back and give you a hug and thank you for what you've done for them.
They still come back and see her. They still write her letters. And she's done a lot to help a lot of contributing members of society. And they are going to contribute because there are an awful lot of students who are involved in positive action and positive attitude who have that sense of wanting to give back to the community and who have that desire to give back to others and do for others what Linda did for them.
Children often tell me what they wish they could do when someone is hurting their mother, and they'll either say, I did this, I want to do it, or someday I will do it. And really what they're saying is that they want the violence to stop. That's all they're saying. When the Battered Women's Program first started and there were safe houses and there were shelters, women came with their children and everything was focused on the women. But then it became apparent that there were a lot of children around and that somebody needed to be there looking after them. Somebody needed to be there on their team, advocating for them and taking up for their rights. Women come here because they've been hit, pushed, shoved, kicked, threatened, held against their wishes. Their personal things are thrown at them. Their lives are in danger. Their kids have been threatened. It's not safe to be at home. For a while, moms will say that the children don't know and it's not affecting the children. It's really proven that when mothers know that the violence is affecting the children, that's when they really do realize they've got to get out.
This is hard work. You see a lot of depressing things, and Susan is the type of person that can keep people here and keep them interested and keep them from getting discouraged and leaving.
The saddest times are when a child leaves here and I'm not sure where they're going or what they're going into, that I don't really think their situation's been resolved, that the child maybe needs resources that I haven't been able to provide or find for that child, and that makes me really sad because I feel like that each child that passes by me, I have an opportunity to advocate for that child and maybe see something that no one else has ever seen. I just see myself as somebody who can kind of point the way and to find resources or advocate or to say those things to a mom or to a child that need to be said at that given point. And if I've done that, then I've done what I can do.
For a physician who has as big a practice as he has, he always has time for his patients, as well as his activities that he chooses to take part in, such as Dixie Youth coaching. Here as a team physician, he juggles his time pretty good. And you know, there'll be a lot of times where they'll say, "Hey Chuck, we got to do some charts here," you know, so he'll take them and he'll go into the doctor's lounge and he'll start dictating, and he'll come back out and he'll see his patients, and then the next thing you know, he's coaching baseball or on the sidelines for football. What makes him so special is that he does this totally voluntary.
I think Dr. Chuck's pretty cool. Well, I just go to work a little earlier in the winter and between sports. I start my day around 3 or 4 in the morning, and when I get back from the activities, I get my kids studying, then I go back to the hospital.
1, 2, 3, And Dr. Chuck's definitely made a difference in my life as far as the coaching ability with young kids. You know, the positive feedback that he gives to kids is amazing. It's second to none. But everything he does is associated with life. If you work hard, you're going to be successful in life. And he stresses that, and it's really cool to see somebody working with kids that way.
Dr. Chuck was a good coach. I've been successful from a win-loss standpoint, but that's not what gives me the urge to do this. It's just loving kids.
He's a great coach. He tells you when you do good and tells you when you do bad.
I guess, you know, just the proudest parts to me is just that I have 16 kids who have played under me who are all-state players in their various sports, and I have 14 other young men who are physicians. That's not counting people who are pharmacists and medical technicians and people who have done other great things for our country. You know, it's just, I think our world needs a lot more love, and if you give it to kids, they just respond. And you just make ordinary people do extraordinary things, and that's what I've been able to do as a coach.
Children, to me, is what it's all about. It's our future. Little children are fascinating, and what's so fascinating to me, and especially when I was a classroom teacher, first grade, watching them learn. To see a child, when the light bulb goes on, say, "I got it, and I can do it," it's fascinating.
Dr. Nichols is involved in the international and state reading associations. She's involved with YWCA and the Committee of Administration. Delta Sigma Theta sorority, it's a public service sorority. She's involved with the Girl Scouts, the professional development, and many, many other activities.
I have worked in the profession as an educator for 38 years. I'm beginning my 39th year.
Oh, I've known Dr. Nichols for over 25 years, and I can remember when we were younger, all of the children wanted to grow up and be like Jeane, because she had graduated from high school, gone on, gotten her degree, and was back teaching.
My parents were both only high school graduates, but they had a deep concern and desire. Their values were that all of us, there were 6 of us, all of us would go to school. I can remember some days when it was very, very cold. I went to public school here in Shreveport, and a lot of children would stay home, but we would be there. And they would say, "Here come those Nichols children." I have a record of no missed days, and it's unbelievable from elementary through high school.
She encouraged us all to continue our education and going back to get our master's degrees and our postgraduate work. She encouraged us to do administrative intern. Her job sometimes is considered maybe a troubleshooter, or other principals needing to have a conference with her with decisions that they need to make. Well, you can imagine about 42 people calling to put the burdens on your shoulder and to help them solve a problem.
I am a doer. I like to be involved. I am an implementer, because once something is out there, I like to get my hands dirty doing what it is that needs to be done. I have a genuine concern and love for children.
I became involved in the field of autism 30-something years ago when my nephew Joseph was diagnosed as being autistic.
Surprisingly, we had this pediatrician suggested it really at a young age, just about the time he turned 2. After a few visits, he said he thought he might have autism, and I just assumed they could give him a drug or they had some kind of quick treatment, you know, he would be okay. But after I learned what it was, it's going to be a challenge the rest of our lives. So.
Usually when parents come to me, I don't tell them, we don't talk about the future because it's pretty bleak for most children. And parents with a 3-year-old don't want to hear this. They want to hear, what can I do now? What can I do to get services? What can I do now to have him improve immediately as far as in the family setting so they can survive as a family?
I had orders to move, and about the same time I got the orders was about the same time my son got enrolled in the school system here. And he really clicked and got along with his teacher. His face just lit up and everything as soon as he met her, and through a lot of books I'd read, things, I knew that, you know, if you found something like that, you needed to stick with it. So we call Geri.
Geri's always been an advocate for the children, the parents, and also very professional with the teachers. She has always tried to strive a balance so the parents are well informed, the children get what they need, and the teachers, their professional opinions count too.
Probably the most important thing that Geri has done for me is the emotional support. She's kind, and she's considerate, and she's understanding, and she speaks from her head and from her heart. He's gone from just jumping around, flapping his hands, which is what he used to do all day, and that was about it, to he gives a lot of eye contact, which is a very big thing with the autistic kids, because once you get the eye contact, then you can actually start teaching them a little more.
I think the most rewarding thing as far as my work is to see the children get the right programs, to see the parents learning to be advocates for their children, see the parents involved in helping other parents when the need is there, to see the compassion of the school personnel as they work with the parents. All of it ties in together, and we're working as a team, and it's a beautiful, beautiful experience.
Miss Kay is very awesome.
She's awesome.
She's awesome.
My mom is awesome.
I really like me some my Uncle Sam, born on the 4th of July.
I got started in the Dixieland Patriots by just having a burden on my heart to teach our young people more about their American heritage. I was visiting with some children, working with them on some music one afternoon, and I said, let's sing Dixie. And the children looked at me just so puzzled, and I said, what's the matter? And they said, we've never heard of that song before. Some of these children were like 12 and 13 years old, and I said, how sad.
God bless America, my home.
The population in St. Joseph is around 1,800 people. So we are a small rural community. There's nothing here to do for children. That's what is so sad about where we live. We have no outside functions. You have to drive an hour to go anywhere. to eat out. We don't even have a restaurant. We don't have a place for these children to hang out, and we desperately need that here. This is the most exciting thing, my group is the most exciting thing I believe that this parish has ever had as far as children are concerned.
I cannot tell you how much Kay has worked with the children. She's given her time. She teaches them extra piano lessons, voice lessons. She is just endless in what she'll do for anyone's child. It's amazing.
We've had some people stand up on the tables and throw handkerchiefs around and kind of dance with us sometimes.
And we've sung at many rallies, like Desert Storm. They had a rally in Monroe for that, and I'll never forget that experience as long as I live, because when we stepped out on the stage and we sang Armed Forces Medley, which is a medley of different songs that tells about each branch of the service, we had veterans all over that building, thousands of people standing and weeping and crying and raising their hand for the different branch of service that they were in. You could not help but cry even as we sang, because I felt like, thank you, Lord, that we can minister to these people and they know that they are not forgotten, that we still remember them for what they have done for us, the blood that was shed and the freedom that we have today.
The greatest misconception that people have of the desired neighborhood are that the children have no hope, that they have no potential for life, that they can be written off.
Before I met Coach Mo, my life was like, you know, like typical teenager growing up in New Orleans, stealing cars, selling drugs, robbing people, having sex, not obeying my parents, and just being wild and just hanging off the cliff, living off the cliff.
I have found since being here that these kids have as much potential as any children on earth to become everything that God created for them to be.
Coach Mo helped change my life by pushing me to become a man, and helping me to install goals, pushing me to achieve those goals, and just helping me all kinds of ways, spiritually, financial, and just, you know, man-to-man talks, advice.
That's the purpose of our ministry, is to raise them up, to live in the fulfillment of everything that God created them to be.
One of the things I think that's been important about the ministry's success is that Mo and Ellen were willing to move into the area itself, into the neighborhood.
You know, I get very excited thinking about my children more than anything. They are surrounded by people that love them dearly. I do get nervous sometimes, but I do think that they're going to be streetwise and educated at the same time, and they ain't going to take nothing off of nobody. I've been accused of being crazy for doing what I'm doing, but it all makes sense to me, particularly as a minister. To me, Desire is the perfect place to do ministry, because there are so many needs and so many people that need ministry.
A few months ago, I went to my first funeral for a kid that had been involved in the ministry and was shot down on Desire Street. And that for me was kind of an eye-opening experience, to see both the pain involved in it for the family and for the other students, and then at the same time also the commonplaceness of it.
I'm like the first one in my family to get married and have a kid inside of marriage, so that's a breaking right there. Now, just think about all those families in New Orleans like my family. I changed the cycle.
My dream really is that the young men and women that we work with every day would develop in into leaders, that they would go off to college and come back with skills, and they would get married, and they would develop real families, and that they would become the source of transformation of the community that they grew up in, that they would buy into the vision of making their community a desirable place to be.